مرحبا بكم يا أصدقائي. Welcome to another episode of Serious Arabic. In today's lesson, we are going to learn how to form the active participle in weak verbs in Form 1. So more of اسم فاعل. Now to those of you that are new to the channel, أهلا وسهلا. This channel is dedicated to teaching modern standard Arabic, الفصحى. So if you want to learn الفصحى for free, then hit subscribe now. شكرا جزيلا. لنبدأ. So, just a quick revision. I'll attach the link to my previous video on ism fa'il. Ism fa'il is the active participle, the doer of the verb. So, the writer, the thinker, the sayer. Now, in today's lesson, we're going to be focusing on how to form the ism fa'il of weak verbs. Now, weak verbs are verbs that have either an alif, ya, or a waw as a root letter, and they can appear at different stages of the, in different positions of the word. So we can have weak verbs where the weak letter is the first root letter, for example, wasafa to describe, or as the middle letter, qala to say, or nesiya to forget as the final root letter. I've done videos explaining how to conjugate verbs in Form 1 with weak verbs in Form 1 in the different positions. So, for example, if it's at the start, the middle, or the end of the word, for example, the weak letter as the root letter. So do check those videos out. I'll put the link in the description so it's clearer to you as well. So let's start with verbs beginning with a weak letter. How to form the ism fa'il. Now, you'll be glad to know that it's the same way as forming the ism fa'il of any other verb in Form 1. For example, كتب كاتب, that's the writer. It's the same thing. وصف to describe, وواصف, okay, the describer. So it's the same pattern as for other verbs in Form 1. وصل to arrive, واصل the arrival or the arriver. Excuse me. وثب واثب the jumper, to jump. And then واثب is the jumper. Some example sentences. قعد الواصلون الجدود في الخلف. The new arrivals sat at the back. سألت الواصفة الكثير من الأسئلة. I asked the describer a lot of questions. يتدرب الواثب بالتفان لتحطيم الأرقام القياسية. The jumper trains with dedication in order to break records. Now, how about forming the ism fa'il of verbs with a weak letter in the middle? This is slightly different. So we've got nama, which is to sleep, and the ism fa'il, a sleeper, is na'im. So, what you do here to form to form the ism fa'il of a verb with a weak root letter in the middle. So you follow the same pattern, fa'il, but instead of where it would be in waw, alif, or a ya, you put a hamza with a kasra underneath. So it's quite simple. You just take the infinitive, nama, and you add a hamza in between the alif and the final root letter and put a kasra underneath. So nama, naim. Qala, qa'il, the sayer. Zara, zair, the visitor. So an easy way to think about it is just take the infinitive and in between the alif and the final root letter, put a hamza and put a kasra underneath. Some example sentences now. لا يجوز أن تقظ النائم. You must not wake up the sleeper. ينبغي على الزائر أن يدفع رسوم دخول. The visitor must pay an entrance fee. ساوم الزبون مع البائع للحصول على سعر مناسب. The customer haggled with the seller to get a reasonable price. Now, how about forming the ism fa'il of verbs with a weak letter at the end? So, for example, قضى, it means to spend time, but it also means to decree. How do we form the ism fa'il? So, we insert the alif in between the first and the second root letter, And then the final root letter, which is a weak letter in these verbs, is written as a كسرة تنوين, which makes the in sound. That is if the ism fa'il then is indefinite. For example, judge. A judge, قاضٍ. But if we want to say the judge, so it's definite, we add the L, it's القاضي. So then, when the L is added, it now becomes, the ism fa'il is definite, then the كسرة تنوين becomes a ya. Okay? So, indefinite, definite. So if it's indefinite, it's a كسرة تنوين. If it's definite, it's written as a ya. نسيا is to forget. So the ism fa'il, one that forgets, or the forgetful one, a forgetful one, nasin. Okay? But if it's definite, the one that forgets, or the forgetful one, anasi. So again, indefinite with the kasra tanween, definite with the ya. Ramma, to throw. A thrower, ramin. But the thrower, arami. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, please put them in the comment section. شكرا جزيلا وإلى اللقاء.